It's too many different characters in the place. Something, right? Something's gonna.
Or you are obligated to spend money in a property manager.
No, no, definitely you need a property manager in place. If not, you won't sleep. You get all the
Okay,
calls.
in my houses, I don't use property manager.
No, because you mastered a strategy and you finessed it. That you made it your own, actually, right? And you've covered your back with these warranties and these renters insurance policies that they're protected. My friends, welcome to another episode of the Investor Deli Podcast, where we make the information the star. And today we have Argentina's finest, number 10, Conrado Mendez, also an expert golfer. I'll tell you a small story. He was my golf partner. We golfed at the exclusive Spanish Bay in Pebble Beach, and we kind of butchered the course, to be honest.
Yeah, 100%.
Right, Conrado, thank you for coming. I appreciate you. He's a great friend of mine, and we spent a lot of time together, and we've enjoyed our company. And golfing was one of them.
Thank you, Mando. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I know you were doing great podcast with a lot of people, very important people, and I appreciate your invitation.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Conrado has a wealth of knowledge in real estate, and he's specializes, for a lack of a better word, in lease options. And he's kind of very masterful in lease options. That actually joined a webinar that he had a couple months ago, and he was just blasting me with information. I was just writing, oh my God, I was actually screenshotting it. I was like, oh my God, oh, what's this? I never heard of this, right? So it's a great investment strategy that he's worked on and he's mastered, I would say. So Conrado, tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us a little background, how you got into real estate, and then we'll kick it off into exactly what you do.
Thank you, Mando, for the introduction. I'm Argentinian from Mendoza, the land of wine and big mountains. We arrived to this country in 2016 with my family, my two kids, my wife, and only $3,000 in my pocket. Because, yes, that was at the beginning was very tough. We arrived to Charleston, South Carolina. Basically with my very broken English at that time, and that was the beginning. Working as a landscaper, and my wife cleaning hotels. That was our story at that time, and I knew that this is a lot of opportunities, and this is what happened. Really, I had the first opportunity with still my good friend Tony Strain. She's a Mexican realtor. She's married with an American gentleman, and she gave me the opportunity to enter to the real estate world. And she was my angel. She gave me an opportunity, an incredible opportunity to start in real estate, inviting me to a real estate training with the Robert Kiyosaki team, the Elite Education Legacy, and that was a great, an amazing opportunity. Imagine $3,000 in my pocket, and that training, only the training, $30,000. I said, no, thank you so much. I don't have the money to do it, And she said, no, don't worry, you're gonna be my partner.
Wow.
She knew about my skills in sales. I was working in sales for a very young age. I was an entrepreneur since I was 17 years old, but the Argentina context, the inflation and the corruption, the government, I was, starting companies and broken those companies, consistently, but learning a lot. And I guess that was a great preparation. But the biggest challenge was starting here in the United States. The language was a very big barrier.
Sure.
Very big barrier. But again, my mentors at the time, right? Reading books, podcasts, and content like this. For that reason, your podcast is very important because this content gonna be really consumed for other people, other immigrants, and me as an immigrant at that time. That was so important, that material. People like Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi. I mean, that were my first mentors, right? And
Yeah.
and they were working. I was working really hard in mindset because that was the big battle at that time. The big battle was, the poor mindset I brought from my country, and they're here starting, uh, nurturing a new mindset, reprogramming completely that completely, Emmanuel, completely. That was very tough, and working in landscaping, literally climbing palms in South Carolina, climbing palms, cleaning. But I knew that an opportunity gonna rise, and that is what happened. And when that happened, I jumped, and I knew that the option was no plan B. For a reason, when people ask me what you can recommend, for new investors, for new entrepreneurs, is never have a plan B, because that is a big trap. The plan B is a big trap. And I jump there, and I learn about these options, and this is the way I started.
That's an amazing story of perseverance, of courage, right? To leave your country. It resonates with me a lot because my mother did the same when she was much younger. She migrated from Costa Rica by herself. So I totally resonate with that. The curiosity, all these things that make you want to try something new and go to somewhere where there's opportunity, right? You already know that built in, that there's opportunity, and then the grace of people coming into your life to give you some guidance, right? So to grace you with opportunities that you could say, man, this is exactly the reason why I'm here, and I'm taking full advantage of these opportunities and not having a plan B, and I'm going for it. And I especially love that from immigrants, because we as Americans, second, third generations, fourth generations, we sometimes forget these little things, right? And we lose that perspective, and we get a little complacent sometimes, right? So thank you for sharing that. I'm sure as other people are going to be motivated by the story. And like you said, this will live in evergreen forever. So thank you again. So let's now jump into exactly what are you doing in the real estate space that we mentioned in regards to lease options. Can you give us a step-by-step for people who don't know exactly what this investment strategy is, so they can have a broad sense and say, wow, maybe I can do this one day, right?
Of course, if I did that at that time, everybody can do it.
Sure.
The key is believe that it's possible, because sometimes you are thinking it's too good to be true,
Yes.
right? And this is what happened. You and me, basically we are in the same space, right? In the creative financing world, and sometimes the people think, oh, this is real, this is
Yeah.
something, because we are working with very big profits or opportunities to create wealth, basically with no money at all,
Sure.
that at the beginning you really
Doesn't make
hesitate.
sense.
Now
Like, how
you
is
said,
it real?
this is gonna be a scam.
Yeah.
Okay, where is the trick? Okay.
Sure.
And this is what happened at the time. I said, "Ooh, oh my God, that blew my mind completely." Because imagine that training was about lease option,
Wow.
and that was the way I purchased my first house.
Amazing.
This is the first story I want to share with you. How I purchased my own house.
Please.
Basically, it can be the story of many immigrants. They don't have a place to live, or they are rented a crappy place or something, right? And you can see that basically with some steps, step by step, they can purchase their own house. It's so important for a family, right?
Please let us know. La gente, por favor, escucha lo que va a hablar. Let us know, man. Let us
Okay.
know.
Imagine, I was working as a landscaper, and I had that opportunity. And my partner at the time, Tony, told me, "Hey, Conrado, let's do this training. I'm gonna pay your part, and you're gonna give me back with, the deals we're gonna make together."
Future earnings.
Imagine. I said, "What? Okay, let's do it." $30,000 training.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, at that time that was a fortune for me.
Oh, absolutely,
Still
absolutely,
now,
absolutely,
it's big.
absolutely.
Imagine at the time, and I say, oh my God, this is an opportunity that I have to take.
Yes.
Uh, the training were about lease option. What is lease option? In few words, lease option is the option to lease a place with the option to purchase that place in the future. But more simple, because I love simplicity,
Yes, please.
is that basically you have the control, of a property. And another time I learned about that sometimes is more important control over ownership, right? Over ownership, because basically who controls something can get the benefit of that thing, right? Okay, what does this means in English? Basically is I can rent a property, right? But I have the right. That was the way that they teach me. They told me that you
Hmm.
have the right to sublet this property to someone else, right? And that is called sandwich lease option. Like a sandwich, you are in the middle, and you rent the property, and you can sublet the property to someone else who's gonna be the family that at the end gonna purchase the house. But in this case, with the first property, I used this for myself. I needed a property. I was renting a very crappy apartment, no credit at all. That's a very important thing as well, because there's a lot of immigrant, they don't have credit at all.
Yeah, man.
You know that,
Yeah.
and there's no credit at all. And if what I learned in that training is you can create your own credit with the time. I mean, basically, if you follow some steps that we want to talk, and I'm going to share with your audience, how to create very quickly a credit from the scratch to 750, 800 points. Very easy following. A formula that is very simple. It's the formula I used at the time, right?
Yes.
And yeah, and basically, this lady introduced me one of her clients, because she was a realtor, right? And one of her clients, uh, basically, the situation was this: this property was beautiful, that was on the market, beautiful property on the market, and they received an offer, right, from a buyer. But the problem was the appraisal was bad. The appraisal never reached, right, the amount that basically she was selling the house for. In that case, what happened is, okay, this lady only has been purchased this house for maybe 2 years ago, and that means she didn't create enough equity, right? And basically, the seller said, "Oh my God, I don't want to put money from my pocket to close on this property. That doesn't make sense for me. My only goal is to move to Columbia, South Carolina." She was living in Charleston. She wanted to move to Columbia, South Carolina, and she wanted to avoid to pay two mortgages, right? The
Sure.
mortgage that was in place in the house, and the new mortgage in the new house in Columbia, right?
Sure. Understandable.
That makes sense. Uh, and I said, "Oh my God, this is the perfect a client, the perfect seller for me to apply the lease option." Why? Because I pitched to her, and this is going to be the gift for your audience. Yeah, how to make your first lease option, and offer to her, listen, I can rent your house, but with the option to purchase this house in the future.
Hmm.
But someone else gonna pay for your mortgage. That's gonna be me, right? I'm gonna pay for your mortgage. You're gonna avoid that pain to pay two mortgages. That is your goal. Yes, that's my goal. Okay, perfect. I'm gonna pay for your mortgage, and basically, in a couple of years, I'm expecting to repair my credit and to get a traditional loan for myself. That makes sense. But what happens if you don't execute your option? Okay, you have the right to renew with me, or I'm gonna lose basically the option to purchase. Okay,
And in the
this
option, did you have to? Is there do you have to compensate her? Do you have to give her money up front? Is there any levers like
no, that was the crazy thing, because that's the most incredible about creative financing. If you are solving problems, right? When people ask me, "Hey, Conrado, what are you doing?" I'm a problem solver. I'm not the seller. I'm not the buyer. I'm not an investor. I'm a problem solver. I'm trying to apply right my techniques in creative financing, and I know you're doing your part as very good as well. You're a
Sure.
great investor, and basically what we're trying to do is solving problems, right? In
All
that
day.
case, what was the motivation? Don't pay, avoid to pay two mortgages.
Correct.
That's it. That was the only goal this lady had. And I say, okay, I gave the solution to her for the reason zero. Okay, zero down,
Sweet.
zero down. Only start paying her mortgage. That was the motivation. But the only expense I have at the time is obviously I had to compensate my friend, right? With the realtor. But
Yeah.
that was so easy because I told her, listen, I don't have money right now. She said, don't worry. When you have the money, give me, you know, my commission. That basically we agreed to give to her $6,000 in, you know, many payments. I mean, basically it was very, very soft and very easy to do it, right? But in few words, was zero down payment, right? And and start paying the mortgage, the property, and start creating my credit. What I did is learn. The key is learn. Trying to see and study. Learn from other people, and I was learning. Okay, how can I create my credit in 2 years from the scratch to something I can qualify for a traditional loan? In a country, in a new country, and it's okay. And I learned this lesson. Basically, this credit score has three components, right, that affect directly, how you create your credit. And these three components are: the first one is always pay on time. Always. Doesn't matter. No, okay, don't eat that day, but pay the credit card, pay any credit product you have in your hands. That makes sense? Always paying on time. A delay gonna, really
Yeah.
be very, 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 very dangerous for your credit. Okay.
Correct.
The second thing, never, never, never in the life spend more than the 30% of the total credit you have. Let's say if you have $1,000 in credit in your credit card, never spend more than $300. Never.
Yes,
If
sir.
Okay. And the third one is the revolving credit. Basically, get credit in different entities because not all the entities report to the same bureau. Okay. And that is important. And listen, with all, because there's a lot of people are trying to make this very complicated.
Sure.
No, because the credit, no. Okay. I followed that recipe, and in 2 years, I have 750, believe it or not. 750 from scratch to 750. When I reached 750, I spoke with my realtor. That was my friend, my partner, and I said, I'm ready to go to apply for a loan. And imagine, and guess what? At the time, obviously, I was obviously had more deals in my career as an investor, and obviously I applied some other techniques, like for example, I create my own S corp, right? That gave me the option to be my own employee and show to the bank I have some income. I mean, there's many things to do, right? To show to the bank that you're someone who can get a credit, correct?
Yeah, you got to make yourself lendable.
Exactly. And in few words, in 2 years, believe it or not, I was ready to purchase my own house in this beautiful country. They give me opportunity to live here, and I love United States for that reason. Okay, and I purchased my own house. I execute the option, but the cool thing was this, Mando, the way I structured this deal. The way I structured, basically what I did was this. Listen, and I smile because that was so nice. And this house is still producing money for me. But it's incredible. Okay, the agreement was with this lady. I'm gonna pay your mortgage, but my rent gonna be exactly the mortgage payment. First good news, right? But at that time was $910 for a beautiful house, 3-2, that was 1,400 square feet, fully renovated because that was amazing, and 910 monthly payment. And the best part of this was the purchase price. The purchase price was, and listen, man, the mortgage balance at the time to execute the option. That means, for your audience, that I was creating my own equity. Don't be, I'm not the owner, but I can create my own equity. How? Because I put the purchase price as a mortgage balance at the time to execute the option. You know what I mean? Basically, the house, when I started the rent, the mortgage balance was 186, and when I execute the option was 160. Right? I created for myself with my rent payments
Equity.
an equity, right? An extra equity, and I purchased 160. And today, that was in 20. I executed the option in 2019. Okay, right now the property value is 350.
Whoa.
Okay, I mean, and 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 I'm doing a lease option for someone else, with that house that I'm not living there anymore because I'm living in Miami right now. But that property is still producing money for me. Okay, that was my first lease option, and what was the most important thing? Solve someone else's problem.
Identify the bunnies.
Identify them. Exactly.
So if you know, you know. That's incredible. The journey, like, and then implementing strategies, and cultivating relationships. Right? It's just amazing how these opportunities happen. Obviously, that was an incredible opportunity. Your family won, the existing owner won. Right? She had her problem solved, and off to the races. Now that you executed this, you from soup to nuts, you have proof of concept. How were you feeling that you were like, man, I can't be stopped? Like this is incredible. I can see a vision where I can now grow this out, right? Like, what that make you feel? How did that give you that sense of confidence that I could, man, wait, I'm just getting started?
That was incredible because I thought at the time, oh my God, if I can repeat this multiple times, that's going to be incredible, right? And
Yeah.
I combined this with the fix and flip. You know,
Okay.
exactly. And I was doing some fix and flips, and many of those I consider good for lease option. I was doing lease option. The rest, and I was combining what we call today money, tomorrow money, and generational wealth.
Oh
Right?
man, you can't tease us. You got to tell us about how you execute flips into lease options. You gotta tell us. You gotta let us.
That's good because
Give us more.
yeah. Basically, it's all about create value, right? When you're doing a fix and flip, what are you doing? Creating value, right? Something
Correct.
that looks ugly, you put some love, repairs, and
TLC.
exactly, and that can be obviously flipped to another seller and another buyer, sorry, and you can create, right, a very good profit involved. Okay, what I did is, oh my God, I can combine both words. I can combine lease option as acquisition strategy, right? Because the house maybe needs some repairs, distressed sellers, right? And it can offer to those sellers the option to say, hey, listen, Mr. Seller, I can purchase the house from you with, at that time, I didn't know about subject to, okay? I didn't know nothing about subject to. Then when appeared subject to, that blew my mind completely
Another
because
level.
imagine. But at that time, I was acquiring with lease option. I was using lease option as an acquisition strategy, as an disposition strategy as well. That makes sense?
Yes, sir.
And but that was good as well. The only difference, obviously, is if when you are doing this, you are not the owner, right, from the beginning, like with subject to. But for acquisition purpose, that was very, very. There's less friction than with the subject to, because basically the seller are he's saying, oh, this guy gonna be renting first, right? He gonna demonstrate that he's, I can trust on him, and then gonna execute an option. That makes sense for a lot of people, right?
Yeah. uh, One less step, right? It's like there's a
Mm-hmm.
it shows clarity. They just want to sell. They don't want now you complicating the issue, right? So I
And,
see. I get it.
and what I did is, okay, and I said, oh my God, that blew my mind completely. I said, okay, what if I can combine acquire the properties with lease option, right? I can improve the house. I mean, I can create value, right, to the house. And then I can execute the option to purchase the property. I purchase the property very cheap, and then I refinance the house, correct? And I
Yes.
get a beautiful cash out, correct? And
Yes.
then because I'm the owner, I can sell to someone else, repeating my own formula.
Yeah. So in this step, you're bringing in a renter, right?
Exactly.
Right. So now you bring in, because now we talked about how you executed your property to live in, and this strategy you're combining the flip with the lease option, and including you taking yourself out of the picture as the renter, and you're bringing in someone else as the renter. So now you're vetting and you're looking for people to fit this mold, right? Maybe
Correct.
people that have bad credit, right? Kind of what we touched on, that they're not financially stable enough for whatever reason. They don't have a income that's showing on their taxes, whatever it is, that they don't look lendable to a bank, all these things that we kind of discussed. So this is kind of the profile, I'm assuming, of the person you're trying to fit into this type of strategy and property, right?
100%, Mando. And this is the cool part of this strategy, that you are helping people. And that
Yeah.
means, for that reason, I love this option, because basically it's a strategy with purpose. And that is the part I like. I gave to a lot of family the opportunity to purchase beautiful houses in
Wow.
Mando, because I'm fixing up those properties. Okay, but it's why is so important thing in this way. There's other investors that they don't like to spend money in repair those houses, and they are looking for a tenant buyer. No, no, no. I love to give to the people beautiful houses, completely renovated. But at the same time, it's a win-win situation. Why? Because at the end, I can get a beautiful cash out refi in the houses, right? I can get full appraisal, right? Because the properties looks nice, nice, nice. But instead of selling, right, to the open market, that any fix and flip are gonna think in that way, I'm saying, no, 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 I can produce more money. Because really, if I can be the bank, me as a bank, right, that is the complete game, right? And this is what I discovered. I said, oh, shoot. That means if I can start with this option, I can fix them up, and then I can refinance this property, and then I can finance this property to someone else.
Are you refining before you have the new tenant in, or you need to have someone in place already to execute the refi?
The tenant give you the option to refinance perfectly, because you can show to the bank that you had a beautiful lease, right? That is one of the requirements of the DSCR loan, right?
Correct.
Very impossible. And you're helping that because they are tenants at the beginning,
Correct.
tenants with the right to execute the option. But you have a lease and the option, two separate contracts, right? And you have a lease to show to the bank. Okay, this is my lease. And the cool thing is, because you are doing a lease option, those rents are normally higher than the normal rent. And the DSCR lender loves that.
I love that. And I know a little bit about your strategy. Like I said, I attended your webinar and we're friends. So I know how. So you, to execute these are two different contracts, two
Mhm.
different structures that have to be kept separated, right?
Yes, 100%. That is the key.
Independently from each other. You don't want any commingling of these structures at all for future headaches.
Exactly. Legal headaches,
Correct.
or they put in front of the judge, and you can explain to the judge, listen, there's a lease. This guy has an option. He default in the lease. I have to bid them, right? Or if they were really good payers, they have an option to execute. They have the right to execute the option and sell the house to them. Beautiful, but the difference in my strategy is basically I became the bank, because most of these people, they don't trust in the financial system. They don't want to be connected with banks. They don't want to pass that stressful situation to apply for a loan. And they say,
Correct.
no, Conrado, you finance to us.
I love that. And in this strategy that you're bringing in a third party, which is the renter, they're on the option side, they're bringing in a down payment, right?
Correct. That is
They're
called
bringing,
option fee.
that's the option fee. So they're bringing money to the table, which is in separate from the renter's lease that they're paying
100%.
$1,000, and they came in with $10,000 on the option. Can you touch base and give us some insight on what those parts mean now and in the future when they want to execute or not execute?
Correct. That part is crucial. And why? Because that is what we call skin in the game. That's very important that these people put skin in the game, because why is critical? Because if they put skin in the game, they're going to take care of the property. It's more, my tenant buyers not only take care of the property, they make improvement at the house because they are purchasing the house. They know the process. I explain the process very well to them, and they know that every improvement of the house is going to be for them in the future.
Let's
right?
touch base on that, right? On improvements, because who is then responsible for improvements on a property? Let's say, is it still you because it's yours, or is it written into the lease or the agreement? How does that work? Or is there a scale? If it's more than $500, it's on me, because that's another component that
amazing question.
It's like God is in the details, that sometimes these little things, unless you're executing or living in this space, you might not even think about stuff like that, right?
Listen, let me tell you something. This is going to be the most viewed video you're going to have in your channel. After I give this secret, I'm going to tell you right now.
Pro tip.
This is the pro tip, only for Mando Hernandez, because I like you, my man. Okay, listen. The key is this. They put first skin in the game, right? With the option fee. Perfect. But the second thing, and the most beautiful part of this strategy, is you are not a normal landlord. Why? Because in a lease option, in my contracts, right, I put clearly that any repairs at the property below X amount of money, you can negotiate with them, is their responsibility. Most of the time, 90% of the things that happen in the house are for the normal use of the house, right? Toilet's broken, it can be the air conditioning is not working, or something happened on the other property. But I had another hack. Okay, I'm going to share with you and your audience. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm putting in the contract a clause that says that the renter has the obligation to pay a home warranty. They're going to cover any problem with the big babies, right? I call the big babies. What are the big babies? Mando, come on, help me.
The roof.
Okay, roof. Okay, but you can find a home warranty that cover the roof, but yeah, there's some restriction. But basically, what the air conditioner, that's happening all the time.
Correct.
Right? The refrigerator, any of the appliances, right? Those are expensive, correct? And this is gonna cover the home warranty, but including the roof as well. If you have a good home warranty, that can cover that one, and it's not expensive at all for the renter.
Yeah,
we're talking about $60, right?
Yeah,
the average home warranty. Okay, I put in the contract, they have to pay. This is part of the agreement.
And that contract is on the lease side, or that's on the
option. In the lease.
It's on a lease? Okay.
In the lease.
Okay.
In the lease. And the other thing is they have to have, obviously, the renter insurance for their belongs, right? So renter insurance plus home warranty. The perfect combo. You know for what? I don't receive one call, Mando. One call
I love
from my
it.
tenants. One call. Nobody
Amazing.
called me. Nobody called me. That's shit. When I hear people like are in co-living or another kind of strategy, they'll tell me crazy stories.
Bro,
I
that's
said,
what I was
okay,
thinking of. I was literally thinking of that. People who are, let's say, have co-living spaces and they have these, rooms broken up into 8, 9 people. You're going to get a call. Something's gonna. There's too many different characters in the place. Something, right? Something's gonna.
or you are obligated to spend money in a property manager.
No, no, definitely you need a property manager in place. If not, you won't sleep. You get all the
Okay,
calls.
in my houses, I don't use property manager.
No, because you mastered a strategy and you finessed it, that uh you made it your own, actually, right? And you've covered your back with these warranties and these renters insurance policies that they're protected, right?
Yeah, but
So
at the
it's
end,
just
it's a
it's
benefit for
just a
them.
phone call to execute and resolve these issues. It's not a big deal.
There's not a big deal, and at the same time, I put in their mind the ownership mindset, right?
Or
They're,
absolutely,
they're acting as an owner from the beginning. This can,
absolutely.
yeah,
It's totally different. It's a totally shift, right? Because uh, you're enlightening them, and
exactly.
that's something that as a renter you won't even consider that. As a renter, all you're worrying about is paying that monthly rent, right, when it comes. And now you just putting in you reposition them, right? Not only are you renting with the possibilities of owning, that's a big deal. That's a big deal and an extra motivator, right? And then if you present them, like you said, with a beautiful home, as you control it through the fix and flip process, right? You're creating so much value in so many ways.
Thank you, Mando. And for that reason, I love this strategy. I don't change this strategy for other strategy. Obviously, you have some limitations, right?
Like what? Can you
Yeah,
expound
for
that?
example, it's very hard to do lease option with proper high-end properties, for example, or properties over, in my experience, right?
Okay.
My average are properties that more than 350, 400,000 is very hard to find a tenant buyer, right? Because someone who can pay more than 400,000, you know, are more willing to, or they have more capabilities to get finance, right?
Okay.
Better
So there's a
finance.
sweet spot you're in.
Yeah, that's my niche, and basically, I'm very happy for that because I'm structuring my buy books regarding that situation, right?
I love that strategy. And are you doing this now locally in Miami?
I can do this in 49 states of America if I
Woo!
want. That is my goal, right? This is my part of my goal. You know my Mount Everest, right? Have local partners nationwide.
I
The
do.
only state I don't want to do that. I'm not doing this. I'm doing grabs, right? Instead of is Texas. That's it.
Is the
One
only
second.
place, is the only place? No, Texas is the only place you can execute this?
No, because has been banned, and there was a situation with with this option before, and that's the issue.
Interesting. Wow. I didn't know that. Now I knew that. And so Texas is the only place that you can
Yeah,
follow up on this strategy.
yeah. You can do this option, but there's a lot of restrictions. You have to renew every 6 months.
Um,
Legally, it's very complicated because there's a previous you know a big legal issue. Someone was scamming people with this strategies. That was sad because that happened in Texas. But really, you have the really good. It's the same that you can do with different tools, right? You can use a knife to cut the food or to kill someone, right? It's the same
sure.
tool,
Sure.
correct?
Yeah.
Okay. With real estate, if you have ethic, moral, and you're trying to give something for the world, okay, it's a really good tool, right? And you can give to someone a beautiful house. And again, Mando, listen, is something that I was obviously tweaking during the time.
Absolutely.
It's not my strategy right now is not the same when I started. But I
Absolutely.
was tweaking, but all the time thinking how to give value, how to help others better, right? And I'm thinking, okay, the best way is first of all, I'm not happy with the classic strategy, lease option strategy, that basically only 30% of the tenant buyer are successful, getting the credits or executing the option. I don't like this.
Okay, that's important, right? Because if a tenant, is there a timeline that they have to execute the option, or do they can rent forever and
No,
never
no,
execute it? Like,
no,
can
no,
you
no.
give us that back end exit? How does that work?
Thank you for the question. Yes, the lease is going to give you the time you have to execute the option. Let's say the lease option is for 3 years. Typically, it's for 3 years, 5 years,
Okay.
right? But no more than this, right? And you have the right to renew, because you can see if that's a very responsible people that take care of the property. Okay, I know several investors that they're renewed to them, but again, they are dependent to qualify for a loan that maybe never gonna happen. More in this time that is very hard, to qualify for a loan for people that really, have jobs and no problem at all, and it's very tough to do it for a reason. This option, basically, I'm created that option to basically, never you can assure something, right? You never can guarantee something for someone else, but you have more probabilities that you can do it, for sure.
I have three questions. I'm actually, I'm writing stuff down, Conrado. You got me, I'm right. You know,
I told you this is gonna be the most viewed chapter in your channel. Come on, let's do
I
it.
loved it. So I'm gonna start. How do you find your tenant base? Is there anywhere specific that you search, or how does that part work? Because this is kind of a special type of profile of a tenant that you're looking for, right?
Correct. That is crucial as well. The tenant has to be a quality tenant. It's not any tenant. You don't want that you beautiful house gonna be damaged, or someone else came here and broke everything. No. You need to do a normal. Hey, Mando, if you're renting your house, you're doing a background check, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, you take care of that part. If not, you're gonna be in serious danger very very quickly. I mean, basically, what I'm doing is the same thing. Obviously, they don't have credit, because that is my niche, right? My candidate. But they don't have credit. But there's a lot of people, Mando, in this country that they have very bad credit and very good income
Sure.
for multiple reasons.
Are you posting like on Facebook? That's kind of what I mean. How are you?
Yeah.
You have
Again,
strategies where you do some outreach to communicate with, and now you've been doing it for a while. Word of mouth now
the
that helps.
best the best option are the most simple ones, right? Facebook is incredible, powerful.
Yeah,
Facebook Marketplace. That's it. Boom.
I love
I
that.
have hundreds and hundreds of inquiries all the time, and those inquiries, right,
Amazing.
are so many, because the people are really in need of an opportunity to purchase a house, right? And right now, the context is not given to them that option, right?
Yeah, and I love that. I love your strategy. And then as an
My
investor,
kid, my kid life, real life,
oh no, this is real life. I know he
real
was.
life.
He was
I'm with my
asking you.
kids. You know, they're here.
Hey, what's up, guys? And I know they were asking. They was like, "Where's Poppy?" But another question: an investor, you're always looking at at the back end profits, right? And you mentioned that this is more profitable than a conventional long term rental. Uh, how more profitable? Just rules of thumb than kind of a conventional single family that Uh, that you're renting out in comparisons to a lease option? Is it much more different? What's the cushion that you kind of normally see adding on the rentals?
Great question, Mando. And this is one of the characteristics of this strategy. and basically we are trying to do business, make business, right? And okay, you have three different sources of income in the lease option. The first, the first one is the option fee. Remember, we spoke about that.
Yes.
The option fee. Second one, you have obviously the difference between the cash flow, basically, right? How much they pay as a rent and how much you pay for the cost of your house, right? Is the cash flow. Everybody knows about the. But the third source of income is obviously you're gonna sell this house for a higher price. Why? Because these people are gonna purchase the house in the future because they are gonna purchase in the future. What you're gonna do? You're gonna negotiate the price in the present. Calculated some appreciation of the property, and you're gonna say, let's say the property right now is 200,000 today. Okay, and you say, okay, what is the average appreciation in my market? Let's say 5%. Okay, that means $10,000 yearly, right?
In the future.
Correct. Let's say they execute the option in 3 years. Basically, you can charge 230 for the house. But when? Now you put the price now. Now the price of the house gonna be 230. Basically, you protect your equity completely, right? Doesn't matter what happened with the market.
Yeah, it's a crazy strategy. You're making money on the option, and once that option, and once that those funds are given to you, that money is yours, right? There's no never to give back, right?
No, it's not refundable, and you have the obligation to disclose this to the tenant buyer because it's the skin in the game, right? You put an asset in risk completely with someone that they don't have credit at all.
Yeah,
correct?
For sure. And then since you already have an average that you're buying, right? 350, 400K. Am I assuming that your option is always kind of the same ballpark?
I lost him with the question.
Because you say your sweet spot is like 300, 400K, right? That's kind of where you stay at, right? On your
max,
right?
Max,
right?
The fine candidate, right?
What's your ballpark on?
But you know why? You
why?
know why? Because what is the limit? Why I'm saying this? I'm going to explain another way, because to give a simple message to your audience.
Sure.
Basically, I'm trying to adapt how much can pay a normal, right, worker monthly for a mortgage payment.
Sure. You're matching the profile of your audience.
If you have a house, $500,000 house, they cannot reach the monthly payment.
Sure. Okay, and cool. And then the option. How much is usually an option that you're asking for a prospective tenant owner?
It's negotiable. It's negotiable, and that is crazy because I'm started with an amount, and because the properties are so beautiful, they're starting offering a little more, right? Basically, what I'm putting is something. I have a rule of thumb: I never charge less than 3 rents in advance.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay, so whatever the rent is, that's 3 times.
3 times minimum. That's gonna be the minimum. But that was a trick I give to the strategy, because basically you need to sell to the mind, not to the people, right?
Interesting.
And they are thinking, okay, I'm starting with something low, but then basically they're offering more.
Interesting. Dude, you gotta happen it. And my other question was more on the fix and flip side, right? Sometimes if you're using a hard money lender, right, they have caps, maybe 100% construction they cover.
But let me clarify something very important before to come to that part.
Sure.
It's important to clarify that any payment they pay as an option is going to be deducted immediately from the final price, right? It's not money that go to the space. No. You discount this
for the cost of the property.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's very important. Know that their money is actually going somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, that's important, right? The question was, like I said, on the fix and flip side, which hard money lenders have, they charge in different ways, right? 100% construction, or they give you 80% of the cost of the property, right? All those different, everyone has different parameters. My question is more, do you bring in gap lenders, let's say, right, to kind of cover these costs? And then how do you protect the lender on the refi to kind of, do you pay them back on the refi, right? Is that built in? How do you strategize that if you do?
Very good question. You have many ways to do this, Mando. In creative financing, you need to be creative, but there's many ways. For example, in my case, I have a private fund created with my own clients that they saw how I'm doing my strategy, and they want to invest with me after that, right? Right. And I have a little fund over there.
Amazing.
I'm paying 6%,
Oh,
right? But they love it because
absolutely.
in their bank they have zero, right?
Dude, you're killing them. You are amazing. You recycle. You keep the money in. You build a community for yourself. Even as an investor, you've cultivated a whole process, right? Congratulations, brother.
Thank you, bro. And basically, I have enough money for a little gap, but that gap at the end, guess what? Who covered that? Who covered for
that? The lenders, the people that are renting from you and with the option to buy.
Exactly. For that reason, the most of the time I cover any gap with that option fee.
Yep, that option fee stays in place, and you can utilize that. That's great. Again, that's super impressive. In a short time, in 10 years, right? Less than 10 years that you've created this. And I want to thank you for sharing your story as an inspiration, right, to others, that they can believe in themselves and the opportunities for the taking.
100%, Amanda. And this is a message I want to send your great audience is, if I can, really, I could do it, right? Anybody can do it, right? I was, like I said, no English at all, $3,000. But the most important thing is here. It's the mindset. Is reprogram your computer, right? You need to believe. You need to, first of all, no plan B, burn the ships, and let's go.
That's amazing. And for our Spanish-speaking audience, who can you give them some words to your Hispanic and Latino community so they can know how to follow you and how to work with you if you have opportunities to be worked with?
Okay, but you're gonna put the subtitle right in English here for
Yes, I got you, brother.
Okay, amazing. Bueno, para la gente de Latinoamérica, me encanta que me des esta oportunidad de hacerlo. Me encanta, gracias. Gente, realmente se puede. Lo único que ustedes tienen que creer realmente que lo van a poder hacer, y nosotros tenemos las herramientas como comunidad. Tenemos muchas habilidades que nosotros realmente en este país vamos a llevarlas a un nivel increíble. Dentro de la comunidad nuestra hay muchos latinos, ¿sí?, que están dentro de Owners, dentro de Subject to, y están haciendo un gran trabajo. Mando es un gran ejemplo de eso. Tenemos un montón de amigos dentro del grupo que son de origen latino, y nosotros tenemos algo en común, que es esta resiliencia, ¿no? Esta capacidad de soportar el dolor quizá un poquito más que el americano promedio. Entonces, eso es un superpower. Eso es un superpower. Úsenlo mucho, aprendan, estudien. No, los límites están acá en la mente y tienen que darle para adelante en este país. Este es un país para emprendedores. No es un país para gente que trabaja de 9 a 5. Si trabajas de 9 a 5, quédate en tu país, no vengas. Pero si vas a ser un emprendedor, vas a lograr cosas muy importantes. Así que este es el mensaje, Mando, para la audiencia en español, es que, vuelvo a decirte, si tú lo hiciste, yo lo hice, cualquiera lo puede hacer. Y nosotros tenemos ejemplos, yo puedo dar cantidad de ejemplos de gente que ni siquiera con la educación nuestra, porque nosotros tuvimos, gracias a Dios, la oportunidad de ir a la escuela. Yo hice colegio primario, secundario, universitario y posgrado. Tengo todo eso y tuve el privilegio de hacerlo. Pero hay gente que yo he visto que están haciendo cosas increíbles en real estate sin siquiera haber terminado el primario. Entonces no hay límites, no hay excusas, no hay nada que no se pueda alcanzar. Ese es mi mensaje para la comunidad.
Mi amigo, mi hermano Conrado, muchas gracias por la oportunidad de conversar con usted. Conrado, where can people reach you at? What are your social media handles? ¿Qué son sus redes para la gente contactarlos? How can we get to know you? ¿Cómo podemos conocerlo y trabajar con usted?
Bueno, gracias. Mi nombre, Conrado Mendez, Conrado, Mendez, Mendez, Conrado Mendez, en Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and TikTok. I started TikTok too. You know, I have a couple of videos, but
I love it. Give us your handles in English now too.
Okay. Everything. My name, Conrado Mendez, is Conrado. Mendez, Mendez, in Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, all the social media, and in TikTok as well, right? I started, 2 months ago, my kids, they were saying, "Hey, Daddy, you have to be in TikTok. Come on, let's do it." But I'm trying to improve every day. But like I said,
thank you, my brother. I appreciate you. This is an old timer. Thank you again. I appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate it. I love your invitation. I wish you the best, my friend.
Thank you.